In the previous video, we talked about the 11 widely counterfeited foods worldwide. Indeed, you're surprised to find out that most of those foods are what you always have in your pantry and grocery list. But as long as you read the labels and know what ingredients are used to make those more affordable versions of the real ones, you have nothing to worry about. Most counterfeited foods are safe to consume. In this video, you'll learn why food fraud is becoming more common. But before that, I will add what other foods you need to be careful about. Aside from the 11 foods mentioned in the previous videos, I want to share more. This is to heighten your awareness that not everything you consume and buy is real. Remember that food fraud is a lucrative business happening everywhere in the world. Since we're trusting consumers, it wouldn't hurt to be more vigilant and careful these days. But before we dive in, please subscribe to the channel and tap the notification button to stay updated for new videos. We've discussed in the previous video about how caviars are faked. If you have not yet tasted authentic caviar, it's hard to tell whether you're consuming the fake ones or not. Fraudsters are fond of targeting expensive seafood like caviar because they're rare and expensive, but they don't stop here. Fish is also a victim of counterfeiting. Figuring out which fish is both good for you and the environment can be a bit tricky. And to make things worse, there's a lot of fishy business going on. Some sneaky sellers like to pretend a cheap fish is a fancy one, or they might say your fish is local when it's actually from halfway around the world. They might even sell you a type of fish that's in danger and claim it's all eco-friendly. According to a study from 2018, about 21% of tested fish in the US weren't what they claimed to be. Imagine that. One of every 3 places you buy fish from might be pulling a fast one on you. It turns out restaurants and small markets are the riskiest. Roughly 26% of the fish they sell isn't what they say it is. Grocery stores, especially the big chains, seem to be more trustworthy in comparison. This fishy business isn't just about getting tricked into paying more. It can also mess with your health. If you don't know where your fish comes from, what's in it, or how it was handled, you could end up with food poisoning. Fish and shellfish allergies are pretty common, so if you accidentally get the wrong kind, it could even be life-threatening. Be a smart shopper to avoid being a victim of this fishy fraud. Learn about the fish you're buying, and don't be afraid to grill the person at the seafood counter with questions. Ask about the type of fish, where it was caught, how it was caught, and when it was caught. And don't forget to check the price. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Consider going for whole fish because it's harder to fake. And try to eat seafood when it's in season. That can also help you avoid falling for these tricks. Watch out for anything labeled as white tuna, because there's no such thing. It's often a cheap fish called escalar, which can mess with your stomach. We all know that fruit juice is packed with sugar, but many of us believe it's a healthier choice compared to drinking a can of soda. But here's the twist. That glass of fresh vitamin-packed fruit juice may not be as innocent as it seems. See, fruit juice is an easy target for trickery. Manufacturers sometimes pull a fast one on us by mixing our go-to breakfast juices, like orange, with cheaper options like lemon, grapefruit, or mandarin juice. And in some serious cases of fraud, what you think is a healthy fruit elixir might actually be a diluted mix of dyes and sugary flavorings rather than a legit part of your daily fruit intake. Let's take apple juice, for instance. You might think it's just pure apple goodness, but it could hide additives like high fructose corn syrup, raisin sweetener, fructose, and malic acid. Watch out for those superfood claims, especially with juices like pomegranate. It turns out grape juice can be a close twin in color, and there might be some mysterious ingredients lurking in there. If you want to skip the whole game of juice detective, there's a foolproof solution. Squeeze your own juice at home. That way, you know exactly what's going into your glass. Now that you know about food fraud, we all need answers to some questions. Why is this happening? What can the government do to stop this? What can we do as consumers? Counterfeit products can be a real headache for consumers. Sure, economic fraud is annoying. Paying $30 for what you thought was top-notch Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee only to get a cheaper alternative is a rip-off. But the consequences go beyond just your wallet. Imagine thinking you're sipping on extra virgin olive oil, and it turns out to be mixed with peanut oil, a big problem if you're allergic to peanuts. Some honey from China has even been found to contain banned drugs known to cause cancer. The impact goes beyond individual health. Legit brands struggle to compete with the dirt-cheap prices of fake goods, hurting local producers. Beekeepers, for instance, warn that phony honey, Imports undercut fair pricing and could put them out of business. So, why is this problem so widespread, and why is it tricky to catch these culprits? Well, some criminal groups are practically like shady companies, with different departments and even researchers figuring out what to fake next based on consumer trends. In one case, an Italian olive oil ring even hired food scientists to create fake recipes. These counterfeiters set up shop in areas where real products are made, running their operations like well-oiled machines in abandoned warehouses. They mimic the real deal down to the last detail, from fake batch numbers to bottling up their counterfeit products to look identical to the genuine ones. They sell their knockoffs by knocking on restaurant doors, setting up big websites, operating virtually, and shipping products through multiple countries, making it super challenging to trace. Europol did manage to bust 40 organized crime rings committing food fraud in 2022, but it's like playing whack-a-mole with so many international supply chains. While the USDA checks imported meat and eggs, the FDA is supposed to handle the rest, but it's estimated they inspect only 1–2% of imported foods. They prioritize drugs over food, which according to some critics is not the best logic, considering food is something everyone consumes daily. Even if these counterfeiters get caught, the punishments are usually not as severe as those for drug trafficking. It's a big, lucrative business, better than dealing drugs because you're less likely to have law enforcement breaking down your door at 4 in the morning for selling fake honey. So what's the solution? Some suggest harsher sentences and using blockchain to track the supply chain. However, the real power lies with consumers. If we stop buying cheap, subpar products, the fraudsters lose their market. Look at Whole Foods, understand what you're buying, and pay attention to ingredient lists. Consumer awareness and choices can make a real impact. So, don't live in fear of the supermarket. Make it your mission to buy better things. And hey, if you accidentally end up with rubbish honey, it turns out it's a fantastic hair and face pack. What's your take on this issue? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification button for upcoming videos.